What's up, everybody? Carl Erickson here, and I asked for some questions, and you sent me some questions. One of the questions I'm going to answer is, Carl, what is your writing process? I didn't really have a process until about 2020. That's when I wrote my feature screenplays, and before that was really just a disaster of trying to figure out how to get ideas on paper. And it's not because I went to film school, and it wasn't because I didn't read books, and it wasn't because I didn't study screenwriting. At the end of the day, it's really about practice. I think you just need to write, and fail, fail, fail. And then all of a sudden you start to realize, oh my gosh, this is a tough task, but I understand what I need to do. And that's the big difference, because I think a lot of times in writing, the frustration comes from not understanding what needs to happen, because it's tough enough to write a screenplay, but to not really understand why you're doing certain things, that makes it much more difficult. So I had experience going into this beforehand. And in 2020, I decided to get serious about writing features. I had co-written a screenplay with Evan Dickerson called The Omegas. When we first started the process, he came with an outline that we were going to fill in. Such a simple idea. I know you heard about it, but it works because you don't need to have your whole story. We just fill in these blocks, kind of like cards, right? Index cards. And if you have things that you want to have in your screenplay, you just pop them in where you think you want them to go. They don't have to go there. Just let me start somewhere. I need to start getting stuff down. That's the biggest thing. Just start putting stuff down, and you just start to chip away at it. Something that you started with that started your whole screenplay, you might not even end up using later on. But again, my process is get it in that outline. So now I have my outline. I start writing. It's going to be terrible because remember, your outline isn't going to be your script. It's just plot points and maybe some dialogue ideas. But ultimately, now you have to start filling things in. So the things that you enjoyed in your outline might not work now. So it's a process. Again, I don't think there really is an easy part of this process at all, to be honest with you. And so I just continue to write drafts. Your first draft is going to be terrible. You really shouldn't share that with anybody. You should read it out loud, and then rewrite it. Rewrite the whole thing. Don't just make corrections. Rewrite the whole thing is what I do. And then once I have something that I'm happy with, I send it to a group of friends, small group, maybe 5 people who I know are going to give me honest feedback. An important aspect of this is to remember that you're in charge. This is your screenplay. What you decide not to put in and what you put in, it's ultimately up to you. The feedback is fantastic. It's going to be a mixture of great ideas, some okay ideas, some ideas that spark other ideas, and complete nonsense. You have to decipher that. After that, I will branch out and kind of just start sending it to people. Hey, do me a favor. Can you just read this? And because you don't want to keep bothering the same people. So I think about who I'm sending my screenplay to at what level. And then once I find it, I'm in a happy place. I know it's still not done. I start to send it to these smaller festivals that give feedback. I get it. It's anonymous feedback, and it might be some ding dong who has no idea what they're doing. In my opinion, it is a risk. You take the good with the bad. That's just the way it goes. I see it as I'm sending my screenplay to someone who has nothing to do with me whatsoever. They don't care about who I am. They're just going to read it and they're going to give feedback. Whether they know how to give feedback is another story. Again, that's the risk you're taking, but you are giving it to someone who doesn't know you. How did your screenplay do? Besides getting feedback, did it win? Did it become a semifinalist? I know these smaller festivals aren't Sundance. I know they're not Tribeca. I get it. But they are festivals that hundreds of other people are applying to. So how did you do against a couple other 100 people? After that, I go and I rewrite again. And I will send it out to friends again. I'm like, okay, look since the last time you saw this, it's been through a lot. Would you take the time to read this again? And my friends are pretty good with that, and they will. And I'll see where it's at there. And it's still not done. And so now comes a time, I know a lot of people don't like to do this. I found it useful. I have found that a paid consultant of someone with a name, not ZPG 45-7 anonymous reader. This is someone who has a name. You're paying them because you have researched their experience and what they've done. And you're saying, hey, can I have your feedback? I think it's great because of the smaller ones, they have to give you like 4 pages of fluff. They have to fill 4 pages and they might not know what they're talking about. I have found that with these people who know what they're doing, who know story, who know tone, who know arcs, who know character development. They're going to give you more precise feedback. And it's one page and it's get rid of this. You need this. Why is this character doing that? And then let's have a phone call. And then you talk about it. I have found so much more value in that than anything. You need to get your screenplay to that point, to that level, or else it is a waste of everyone's time. It's a waste of your money. So if you know that it's really good and just needs some polishing, that's when you pay it. And so anyway, that has been my experience. That's it. And that's how I got to where I'm at right now with the Omegas, with the family recipe that I'm making now, with Holiday Help, with Bread to Kill, another a horror that I wrote, all the same process. I hope that helps. Send more questions. Thanks, guys.